On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will break down the finale of Alien Earth. Did they dig the finale? Were answers provided? What's next for the series and more? So stay tuned for their last Alien Earth special. Fear not though, they'll also cross things over with Star Wars and will debate who's more ruthless, Weyland-Yutani or the Empire. Of course, they'll end the show with question of week responses and the latest round of top 5 Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie. Hey now, everybody. Hey there, Nap Fan. Nap Fan said hi. Star Wars Time Show says hi back. Let me get the hat on. I don't want to blind anybody. Hey, there's another said hi. I'm starting to think a bunch of bots just show up in the vertical stream. You know what I mean? Unless that's the way to come in to a live stream. Just your name and then said hi. Anybody? Can you explain that to me? I am an old guy that screams at clouds. But welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. We're here to break down the finale episode of Alien Earth. Nick will be joining me in about 30 minutes or so. Hello there, Axelot Dream. Nap Fan, how's it going? I'll answer your question here in a second after I lay down the agenda. So like I said, we're going to do the Alien Earth finale. That'll be our main segment. But we do have some Star Wars talk this week. We got the Mando and Grogu teaser trailer. So I cut that up, and we're going to talk about that, break that stuff down. We'll always do the Ask Me Anything to kick things off here. And our crossover segment this week is going to be a debate on who are the bigger monsters, or who is more ruthless, Weyland-Yutani or the Empire. All right, Nap Fan, who's my favorite Star Wars character? I think I've answered this a few times. I'm going to have to go with the duality of Anakin Skywalker. So Anakin / Darth Vader is probably my favorite when it comes down to it. Hey there, Axelot. I said hello. How you doing? Hey there, Kramer. Good to see you down in the other chat. Nice to see everyone. But yeah, we got some Mando Grogu to talk about. We got Alien Earth to talk about. We've got the Him movie to talk about. All sorts of fun stuff. Good to know, Nap Fan. Good to know. Anakin for life. All right, well, let's not waste any time because we do have a slightly busier schedule than usual here with the Mando and Grogu trailer, and I do want to get through that. And our spoiler-filled breakdown of Alien Earth, Episode 8, The Real Monsters. I am not him, Kramer, clearly I'm not him. But I will talk about him, the movie, which, yeah. I'll save that for after Ask Me Anything. So speaking of Ask Me Anything, let's go ahead and get cracking on that right now. Let's see what the fans wanted to know from yours truly. There was not a lot of questions this week, so we'll get through this pretty quickly, if you know what I mean. All right, here we go. Oh, thank you, Nap Fan. Hey, Divided, good to see you. Tones, what's going on? Tones must be, he's at work on the toilet or he's drinking. Which one is it? But it's good to see you, buddy. All right, let's go ahead and get through some of these questions here. They're up on the screen now. To get involved in the Ask Me Anything, you just got to be following us on our socials. You can be in our Discord, which we have an open invite link in the YouTube video description that you're watching right now. Post them on Instagram, post them on YouTube. Just, sub, follow, turn on notifications, and then ask your question. Nap Fan kind of kicked things off, asking my favorite Star Wars character, so I laid that down on you. So now we're going to turn to Scion XTC, who is asking, would you want to become a Prodigy hybrid? So if you haven't been watching Alien Earth, there's a new kind of android that was created, known as a hybrid. And these hybrids are essentially synthetic bodies, but then their consciousness is passed from their human body into the synth body. So you essentially retain who you are, your id, your ego, whatever you want to call it. I think they're two different things. I'm not a psychologist, but you retain your spirit. Let's say it takes your spirit and dumps it into a synthetic body. So this synthetic body is essentially a super duper mega computer. So you can control pretty much anything that's connected to a network. You're also super powered. You've got almost Superman type of strength. And, unless you get your head melted by an alien large fly, it's kind of hard to die if you're a hybrid. So when Scion is asking me, would you want to become a Prodigy hybrid? Yes, most definitely would want to become a hybrid. I mean, who would not want to retain who they are, but essentially get a version 2.0 upgrade? So I'd still be Matt. I'd still make a dumb podcast, a dumb live stream, but I would be super intelligent. I'd have super strength. And for the most part, I would be immortal as long as I stayed away from random alien species. You know what I mean? So let's see what the stream's saying here. We do this show both in audio only, which you can catch on most podcast platforms, but we also do the live stream, which these days it's been 7:30 p. East, or as close as we can get, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. All right, so we got Tones. He's making some coffee. Anyone responding here? There we go. Mando Pirate from the live stream. I'd totally like to be a hybrid. My body would basically be indestructible, and hopefully I'd be in a sexy, muscular man. Yeah, that is true. The synth body doesn't have to just be a clone version of your body. I could pass myself into prime Arnold Schwarzenegger. Back in the day, 80s, 90s Arnold, when he's in Commando and The Running Man and Terminator, stuff like that. So, yeah, that would be pretty great. Good call on that, Mando Pirate. All right, fun question there. And let's move on to the next one. All right, this is coming from our supporter here, Kramer. I'm actually surprised there's no football question in here, Kramer. What's going on with you, bro? But Kramer is asking, since Alien Earth ended, what are you going to be watching now? It's a good question. I don't think I'm going to jump on any new series. I'm probably just going to play some catch-up, Kramer. Being an older individual with a family and a kid, I don't quite get the time to just sit down and binge. So I might try to catch up on stuff I have not watched yet, like the second season of The Last of Us, the second season of The Sandman. I'd like to finish Murderbot on Apple TV, maybe get into season 3 of Invasion, even though I kind of think the series sucks, but I've already watched the first few seasons, so why not keep going? So yeah, it's more playing catch up at this point in time. I've gone through, I've now rewatched all the Alien films. Resurrection is, it's Resurrection. It's honestly, it's not terrible. It's also not good, and it's a little weird with the cloning and all that fun stuff. So yeah, mostly just getting to the backlog. Okay. Kramer's not happy with Clemson. Oh yeah, Tones, that's a good one. I definitely need to get on the Peacemaker Season 2 train. I might even rewatch Season 1. It's been so long. I think I could get the wife into that series. So yeah, I might do a rewatch of Peacemaker S1 and then roll right into Season 2. Good stuff there. I do thoroughly enjoy Peacemaker. Even though I did not get to see Peacemaker's match at WrestlePalooza this last weekend because I'm not spending an extra $30 to get the ESPN app, and I was too lazy to set up a VPN. It's just like, come on, WWE. All right? Like, what are we doing here? If you're a wrestling fan, pretty much we're the only country that has wrestling content on disparate streaming apps. We got to watch Raw on Netflix. You got to watch SmackDown on cable TV or YouTube TV. It used to be you needed Peacock to watch the PLEs. Now you're going to need ESPN at $30 a pop to watch the PLEs. When in pretty much every other market across the world, all wrestling is on Netflix right now. So, anyways, tangent on John Cena, a.k.a. Peacemaker. Okay, Kramer's also asking, do you think Darth Maul was the Phantom Menace in Episode 1? No, absolutely not. Come on, Kramer, you know who that was. Who do you think the Phantom Menace was? It's Sidious, okay? That's Phantom Menace. There's a menace, but it is not known. Darth Maul made himself known, therefore he cannot be a phantom. So the Phantom Menace was indeed Darth Sidious, a.k.a. Sheev Palpatine, a.k.a. soon-to-be Emperor Palpatine, Lord of the Dance. All right. So thank you for that question there, Kramer. Damn, I'm not getting my moves anymore on my Apple Watch. I've been sitting too much today. Too stagnant. Too stagnant. Don't like it. Should go for a run after the show, but I won't because it'll be late. All right, last question here, and as Phil says, not so much a question, but I won't be on for the live, so I wanted to drop this here. All right, so this is just Phil kind of leaving an opinion, I believe. I've enjoyed Alien Earth a lot, but I think they fumbled the ending here. Finale definitely had some cool moments. Eyeball with Arthur, but overall, I think it was a fairly lackluster finish. Kind of silly, in my opinion, to finish with the now we rule bit when we know this is all has to come to naught in the end. Yeah, I mean, listen, Phil, I'm going to get into it once Nick gets here and we do our full deep dive into Alien Earth, the finale episode. But I'll just tease. I'm not very far off from your thoughts on the finale. As just an episode, I thought it was pretty good outside of some wonkiness at the beginning. But for a finale in a franchise where you don't know that it's going to get a second season, that hasn't been confirmed, I think the finale failed pretty hard on that aspect. All right, Tones in the live stream chat saying SAS Rogue Heroes is a great watch if you've not seen it. I've never even heard of that, Tones. What network or app is that on, dude? Anybody. Kramer asking about his comeback story for fantasy football. It's fantastic, right? There's a lot of comeback wins in the NFL this week, Kramer. So it's only poetry that you too experience a comeback. All right, so SES Heroes is on BBC. BritBox, baby. All right, I might have to check it out. All right, well, that was it for Ask Us Anything. Not a lot of questions this week. Not sure what's going on. I think the show's lost most of its luster. Barely have anyone watching right now, but I get it. We're getting old. We've been doing this a long time. Over 10 years at this point now. We're at 372 shows just on Star Wars time. We probably had 200 shows on Entertainment Buddha. So if you haven't been keeping tabs on us, we will be kind of changing things up after tonight. We're going to go away from the 7:30 Wednesday lives and move to an every other week. So 1 week, Nick and I will record on a Monday together, and then we'll premiere the episode on Wednesday. And then the week after that, I'll do a solo live on Wednesday, just real quick to kind of check in, interact with the fans, or at least the fans that are left. And that's that. So just stay tuned to our socials, our Discord, YouTube. I'll put posts in the community section. But we're not going to have a show next week, more than likely. I hope to get a long-form video done on the true power of the Force. You know what I mean? True power of the Force video. I've been working on it for a while. Used AI to help me generate a bunch of assets with it. So I might try and do that next week since we're taking off from the show. But hopefully the week after that, we'll be back with a pre-recorded episode that's going to drop on a Wednesday with an instant premiere. So hopefully you stick with us. But the Star Wars Time Show definitely is going through some schedule changes over the next few months. We're probably also phasing out the website and just moving everything to Spotify in terms of the podcast, the audio-only version. We'll always send this thing to YouTube. All right? So that's that, my friends. That is that. Star Wars Time Show not going away, but it is going to morph a bit. You know what I mean? All right, so let's get into some other talking points before we get into Star Wars time. You know me, I like to do a little pop culture talk to let you know what I've been watching, if it's worth you checking out, or if it's a video game, if it's worth you playing. So last week I checked out the new release, Him. Was it Marlon Wayans was in it? I forget who the star is. this dude there, no shirt, looking all swole, whatever his name is. I was excited for this movie. I mean, it was a movie about football, but it had like a horror slant to it. I was like, this could be pretty good. This could be pretty good. See you, Tones. So I checked it out. Went opening night, and the first half of it's pretty good. I mean, it's about this kid, this Cade something. He's like a superstar D1 athlete, getting ready to go to the league, and he gets attacked, and he can't go to the combine, so he ends up getting invited to essentially the GOAT, the best quarterback of all time in the NFL, not Tom Brady, whatever fake NFL is portrayed in this movie. But he gets invited to his kind of compound to train for a week to prove that, he doesn't need the combine. He can be the man himself. He can become the next GOAT and take the reins from the existing GOAT. But that's where things kind of go downhill. I mean, when he gets to the compound for the first few scenes at the compound, it's pretty good. It's tense. You're like, what the hell is going on here? Especially if you've seen the trailers. You've probably seen some of the footage, and it's disturbing. But where this movie, for me, fails, thank you, Nap Fan, I'm always the main character in my head. Where this movie fails, though, is during its climax. The narrative gets very lazy. It's not really clear exactly what's going on. Is there supernatural elements? It's all kind of glossed over. And then before you know it, the movie's basically over after 5 minutes of pure carnage. And that's that. So I can't say Him is great. I don't know if I can say it's good. Him, unfortunately, is probably something I'd wait for it to release on a streaming network before you check it out. You're not really missing much, if you know what I mean. So unfortunately, Him did not end up being Him, if you know what I mean. Him is still in WWE, Carmelo Anthony. All right. I'm going to keep checking the chat to see when Nick may be coming in, if you know what I mean. I do have a co-host, if you're new here. He just has a different work schedule, so I kind of have to start the show on my own, and then he comes in, and we close things out. All right, well, I'm kind of ahead of things here, which is good, because it's time for the Mandalorian and Grogu teaser trailer breakdown. For those that want more long form or to really hear my deep thoughts on this, I did put out a video breakdown earlier this week. You can check it out on the Star Wars Time YouTube channel. If you're on the live stream now, that's what we are looking at on the screen. All right, see you, Nap Fan. So yeah, please go check it out. I'd love more views on it, but I'm going to use it kind of as my visual, why I talk about the trailer and some of the things that stood out and some of the things that I saw that lead me to believe that I might have a better understanding of the overall plot. So first things first, we got the trailer and we got a new poster. It's very 50s, 60s, 70s, like just kind of like loud type of poster. Starring Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin and Grogu as himself. And, the twins were on it, those huts that we saw from the Book of Boba Fett, the Razor Crest, some X-Wings. It's a pretty swell-looking poster. There's AT-ATs, there's monsters. It's very Star Wars-y, but very old school. It's not like a what's his name, Drew Struzan type of poster. It's definitely got that old school aesthetic. And we got the official release date. I mean, I think we've always known it was May 26th. I didn't know if we actually knew a day, but we now know that it is going to be May 22nd, which is perfect because more than likely I will be on my 2-week vacation. So when it comes out, I'm probably not even going to be able to see it, which is kind of crazy to think when you're as big as a fanboy as myself. It's like, how am I going to handle that? A new Star Wars movie for the first time in 7 years will be releasing. 7 years, right? Because Tross came out in 2019. I'm probably not going to be able to see it opening night because I'm going to be out at the coast. They don't have a great theater, and if I'm watching a Star Wars movie, I want to check it out in a nice theater, at least Dolby or IMAX, something like that. So hopefully by the time I get back, it will still be playing in a big theater. But we'll be doing a breakdown probably in June for a movie that comes out in May. But hey, we're old. It is what it is. All right, so yeah, May 22nd it's coming out. Let's kind of get into the trailer a little bit. I'm going to just, like I said, play it in the background for you as I'm talking about things here. But it's pretty clear early on in this trailer that, and I think we know this, I mean, Din and Grogu are essentially going to be contracted to work for the New Republic to help tidy up the Outer Rim. So the trailer kind of opens with the Razor Crest, which by the way, we better get an explanation as to how Din and Grogu are whipping a Razor Crest again. I hope it's a part of the movie itself. Honestly, I mean, I hope it's the opening of the movie. Maybe he steals it, works a deal for it, trades his sweet-looking N1 for it. I do not want the return of the Razor Crest to just be something that is glossed over. Here's looking at you, Alien Earth, in your first 5 minutes or so. You did a lot of glossing in that finale that I did not love. Oh, look at that. Divided is breaking out the new emoji, the Darth Zeno. That's right. We do offer channel memberships for as low as $1.99 a month. And if you sign up, you will get custom emojis to use in chat, like the Darth Zeno, Tic Tac Thrawn, the Golden Vader, the Drinking Grogu, and you get a little Vader cat next to your name. So thank you for doing that, Divided. But anyways, back to the Razor Crest. Like I said, I feel like them getting another Razor Crest needs to be fully explained and not something that happened off screen. So hopefully that gets taken care of in this movie. But like I said, I think they're headed to a Delphi base. I believe this is where Sigourney Weaver's character is going to be. She's either like I know in my video I called her Colonel Ward. Her name might be Colonel Bishop, which would actually be better due to her alien roots. Either way, she's a colonel in the New Republic Navy, Army, whatever. And I believe she is going to be Din and Grogu's contact. So the opening scene in the trailer, they're flying to a Delphi, probably to get a mission. Then it moves into Din and Grogu kind of scouting out an Imperial location. They're behind this dune. Grogu's got his little telescope out. And the way the trailer's cut, it does imply that they're scouting some sort of Imperial remnant base, which I believe they are scouting for or with Zeb, because later in the trailer we see Zeb fighting some people in a hallway that very well could be this building we're seeing through Grogu or Din's binoculars, if you know what I mean. So there's a good chance at some point in time Sigourney Weaver's character, Colonel whatever, is going to task them to help Zeb, or Zeb will be sent after the fact to help them on a mission she tasked them on. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. Now, the trailer featured multiple parts with Grogu seemingly on his own, but with some Anzellans. So, those little Babu Frick looking people. I don't know if Babu is in this gaggle of Anzellans. He could be. Well, we can pretend he is, but this is still set probably 20 years or so prior to us meeting Babu Frick in The Rise of Skywalker. But it does seem in this movie that Grogu is going to have a bit more agency. He's going to be used more autonomously. It's not just going to be him and Din. He has to be with his dad or he's useless. So it does seem like Grogu is going to be tasked with missions on his own. Because remember, at the end of Season 3 of Mando, Grogu does get promoted to the rank of apprentice. So he's a full-on Mandalorian now. And it does seem like his dad is going to be taking him or tasking him with solo missions. And it just so happens that on these solo missions, he seems to be accompanied by other little aliens, the Anzellans. So it'd be interesting to see what he's doing here. He's in some he's in like some sewer system, so they could be scouting out a base. It could be somewhere at the Hutt cartel. It could be at that Imperial base that we saw them scouting out just a bit previously. All right, so like I said, there's Sigourney Weaver. She is going to be a colonel in the New Republic Navy. Although if you look at her badge here, her rank insignia, I think there might be 5. So is she a colonel, or is she a general, or is there a missing dot under her lapel? But either way, like I said, I mean, clearly Din and Grogu are coming to meet with her, and this is definitely on a Delphi base. This is the same bar we saw him roll up to in the Mandalorian TV show, especially at the end of season 3, where what's his name? He's played by that Asian dude. Man, I'm struggling here. He's played by that Asian guy, but he's an X-Wing pilot. Damn it. Either way, this is not a new location. This is a Delphi base. They're going to meet here. And it does seem like they've interacted before, because the Colonel knows about Grogu and his love of snacking and eating, because as he's trying to pull it towards him, she kind of stops it. So I don't know if we're going to see the initial meeting of the Colonel and Din and Grogu in the movie, or if it's just going to be something that happened off screen, and as soon as we see them meet the Colonel, their relationship is already going to be established. So, but there you go. Thanks, Mando Pirate. The guy I was talking about was Carson Teva. I'm such an idiot. I'm telling you, don't ever do stuff that could break your brain, drinking, other things like that, because it does start to catch up to you in your mid-40s, and I'm sure it only gets worse the older you get. But she's going to be his handler. And I know we've seen some behind-the-scenes shots of Sigourney, and she is in a New Republic pilot outfit. So I'm wondering if at some point she herself goes out to help Din. I don't think she's going to be in it. There might be some antagonistic things between her and Din, but she is not the antagonist. I do think ultimately the reason she's going to have her pilot suit on is because she might need to go help or bring a fleet to help based on whatever Din and Grogu cook up on their adventure. Okay, so as we kind of keep going through the trailer here, still no young Nick yet. Where's the next? We see Din fighting in a bar. We saw some stills from this a few weeks ago. I think this bar, this location, is probably going to be on the same planet as the arena scenes we saw in the teaser trailer with Rhoda the Hutt. I think this is going to be one of his missions. I think the New Republic is sending him to go check out Rhoda the Hutt, maybe talk to him and try to get some intel from him. And I do not think Rhoda the Hutt is the big bad. I think he's a mission asset. He's a mission priority. And I really hope this bar scene and the arena scenes we're seeing are taking place on Nar Shaddaa. I don't think we've ever seen Nar Shaddaa in live action. It is in Hutt space. It just makes sense that if we're going to have Hutts be a major part of this movie, which clearly they are, I'll explain here in a little bit, having it take place on Nar Shaddaa would be pretty rad. I mean, heck, maybe they go to Nar Hatta. Who knows? Either way, it would be a treat for Star Wars fanboys and girls, because, like I said, I don't think we've ever seen Hutt territory, Hutt homeworlds, Hutt pleasure planets in live action, if you catch my drift. But I do think this is where this fight is taking place. I think this scene is probably the same bar. He's looking for intel more than likely. Where can I find this character? How can I get into the arena? Stuff like that. So as things move on here in the trailer, we got our first cool little surprise. It depends on how old school you are. If you collected figures way back in the Kenner days, or maybe even during the Power of the Force days. But it looks like we have. I think the character was a Monomon. I don't know if the alien species is the Amani or the Monet or the Amani, but that lizard-looking thing in the water during the trailer, that is a live-action version of a Monomon, who was a figure or kind of a puppet character you might have saw in Jabba's palace, I believe, back in Return of the Jedi. So, that's pretty cool. When Dave's involved, he's always going to have this deep cut sort of stuff. So, this was a nice little treat to see in the trailer. And it wasn't the only one. I think we got some another kind of callback character that is now going to be live action. All right, so there's another shot of the Razor Crest. I mean, it clearly has a different paint job. All right, so we know it's brand new, and I don't want to go in circles, but it's please, like, don't have this be an off-screen acquisition. Make it the opening of the movie. Either he steals it or deals for it or goes on a mission for it. Maybe that's his reward for the first mission for the Colonel. He gets another Razor Crest. Who knows? But anyways, this scene, it's being chased by what very well could be vulture droids. Now, the footage was going too fast. I mean, I tried slowing it down and getting a good screenshot. It looks like a vulture droid, okay? I can't say for sure that it is, but it definitely feels like a vulture droid, if you know what I'm talking about. Uh-oh, look who just joined the room here. We have a live stream all-star. Bango is in here. All caps, dropping the F word. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. It's kind of quiet today. Just going through the Mando and Grogu trailer breakdown right now, waiting for Nick to show up so we can get into the Alien Earth finale. No, you don't think this is a vulture? What do you think it is? I don't think it's a TIE fighter. I mean, if it's a TIE fighter, it'd have to be like an interceptor or something with the longer, pointier wings. So I'm sticking with a vulture droid, bro. All right, you can stick your theory in your pipe and smoke it, if you will. Okay, so moving on past that, we got a shot of Grogu. No, he can't swim, or can he? He seems this shot of him in the water where he's got a little pissy face on. It looks like he's about to drown. This very well could be from the same scene as that Amanaman. Okay. The Amanaman's in kind of a cave-ish looking pool, and then Grogu too is in a cave-ish looking pool. So who knows? Maybe this is one of Grogu's solo missions, and he gets himself into trouble dealing with that Amanaman, and then he's about to drown. But luckily enough, he can swim. So like I said earlier, just expect Grogu to be doing some missions on his own in this film versus what we've kind of seen before. You gotta like that ad popping up there. All right, so I think this is probably the scene that got a lot of people amped up from the trailer. It's clearly Zeb, Zeb Aurelios from Star Wars Rebels. He's been live action via The Mandalorian. For some reason, he was not in Ahsoka. No one's ever going to figure out that decision. All right, let me take a pause real quick and bring Nick into the show. We can kind of finish this breakdown as a duo here. Young Nick.
Hello.
Oh shit, I don't hear him.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Uh-oh. I got you. I forgot. It's a little trick we did last week. I did not remute. All right, Nick, just to get you caught up where we're at, I'm about halfway, if not 3/4 of the way through the Mando Grogu trailer breakdown. We're at the scene where it's clearly Zeb wall running and bashing some troopers in the face. I personally believe this is the same location that we saw Grogu and Din scouting towards the beginning of the trailer when they were looking at Imperials outside what seemed to be like a remnant type of base. So I'm thinking Zeb's either with them on this mission, or they're sent to help Zeb out, or Zeb is sent to ultimately help them out. But it does seem, what I've been saying, that the Colonel, played by Weaver, is going to be their contact. She's going to be sending them out on missions for the New Republic in the Outer Rim. And I believe one of his main missions outside of this Zeb one is going to be infiltrating something about the Hutt cartel. So we'll pick up from there.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I think that this is probably kind of leaning towards what we had discussed previously, which was in the direction of like this kind of kicking off the Rangers of the New Republic, or what would have been the Rangers of the New Republic type of deal. So interested to see, what their role is, like what Zeb's role is here. If he's just kind of, like you said, like, oh, either he was sent out to help them or they were sent out, or vice versa.
Or
But I
Nick,
do think that
he could be shadowing, you know, almost like, hey,
could be.
we don't fully trust them. Can you watch? I don't think that's what it's going to be, but yeah, I think it's going to be one or the other. He's either working with them or they're trying to help him out. So, the other point I was making about this trailer, and this might make you happy. I know you still want him to talk, but it does look like Grogu is going to be kind of on his own for a few scenes or missions, and when he's on his own, he seems to be rolling with the Anzellans. I don't know if Babu Frick is one of them, but he's definitely in a crowd of Anzellans, the ones he met back on Navarro more than likely, in what Mando season 3 when he got his IG-12 mech suit. So he's not just going to be cuckoo caca cute comic relief. I'm sure they're going to use him for that, and just he likes to eat. It does look like he's going to be out on missions, possibly leading missions, doing things that Din can't do due to his diminutive size. So, what else was worth talking about? We got a U-Wing coming to pick up Din and Grogu. Is Zeb piloting that U-Wing? Is it the Colonel? I don't know, Nick. We have seen the Colonel, played by Weaver, in a New Republic pilot get-up. So this could be her ship coming to kind of save the day, if you know what I mean.
Definitely, yeah.
Let's talk about this hut stuff, because I think I'm starting to get a better picture based on this trailer, and just want to see what you think here. I mean, clearly we've seen shots of who we think is Rhoda the Hutt in what appears to be a gladiator arena. Now we actually get it. We see that Din and Grogu are in fact not fans, but they're spectators. They're kind of watching whatever Rhoda just did, and Din says something like impressive and yada yada yada. You know, they're there just kind of checking it out. More than likely scouting him. I have a feeling they're trying to get information from him, because this is the shot that got me thinking. And for those of you that might be listening, it's the shot in the trailer where Din is fighting essentially trans fucking formers. Okay, kind of cool for Star Wars. But if you look at that logo on that door, that is the Hutt cartel insignia. So it seems Din and Grogu, either directly or indirectly, because their initial mission goes sideways, they're trying to infiltrate a Hutt cartel base. And I do not think it's Rhoda the Hutt. I think the whole reason they're going to this arena to hopefully talk to Rhoda is to get intel about his aunt and uncle, the twins. I think the twins, Nick, they might not be the main antagonists of the Mandalorian and Grogu, but they're definitely going to be an antagonistic faction. And the reason I say this is, A, they're trying to break into a Hutt cartel location. Is it Jabba's palace? Is it on Nar Hatta, Nar Shaddaa? Who knows? But if you look on the poster release in the bottom left corner, the fucking twins are there. Okay? So could we argue, because it seems like Rota becoming a gladiator might have had a falling out with his dad in the cartel side of the Hutt family? Could we argue that maybe the twins are up to some shenanigans, maybe trying to reclaim the Hutt territory on Tatooine now that Boba Fett's gone? Or they're just mucking shit up in the Outer Rim, and the New Republic kind of wants them maybe not taken out, but quelled or tempt down a little bit?
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a super surprise that the Hutts were going to be like the antagonists here. The angle on Rada, I think, is interesting, because I'm not really sure the way that his role is going to play out. Like, yeah, he's in a gladiatorial arena, but like also we've seen a lot of other films and stuff like that where like very prominent members of the ruling class will put themselves in the gladiatorial arena against like pieces of shit, just to like to literally just be like, look how strong and good I am. And it just helps to raise their profile amongst the people that worship them, because it's like, so I like him in the gladiatorial arena. I don't put any stock in that being like a punishment or anything. It looks like he's quite enjoying himself, in fact.
Yeah, I guess my point is the fact that Jabba's son and heir, the fact that he didn't immediately fulfill his mantle when he died at the end of Return of the Jedi, and Bib Fortuna was able to kind of slip into that vacuum. I think that kind of tells a story about Rhoda and his dad and his family overall, right? They probably weren't on good terms. Maybe Rhoda was exiled already. Maybe he's self-exiled because he wasn't down with the cartel. I'm with you though. I don't think Rhoda is like a slave and he's being forced to fight. It seems like he is enjoying it. Maybe this is truly his profession. He just got out of the family business, but now some of the family, aka the twins, are mucking things up in the Outer Rim, and the New Republic isn't happy, so they got to get some intel. This is me just fucking spinning speculation, my friends. But the fact that they're prominently placed, the twins are on the poster. It's like, come on, like this is it. I don't even know how much Imperial Remnant stuff we're gonna get in this movie outside of, the at scene that we got a little more insights into in this trailer.
Yeah, and we saw them infiltrating that base with Imperials outside of it, or like scoping out that base with the Imperials that were patrolling it. So I'm sure that there will be like that'll probably be like the opening mission. The one with the or maybe it flips, like maybe it flips eventually to like you find out that the Hutt cartel is working with one of the warlords of the Imperial Remnant, and something like that happens. But
I like that. I think that's a better angle. It's not listen, the Hutts are all shady. They're fucking mob bosses. But I do like that maybe the twins are working with the Remnant, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like to kind of cause chaos in those Outer Rim territories that we know the New Republic struggles to kind of police. I mean, that's been the whole point of the Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series. Like during this timeline, just a few 7-8 years past the fall of the Empire or Return of the Jedi, it's still fairly lawlessness the further away you get from the core of the galaxy.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the situation the whole time. They're like, even in the Grand Republic days, they're like, you barely ever saw anything out in the Outer Rim, because they even referred to it as Hutt space. So like even the Galactic Republic at that time was just like, look, it's too far away. We're not going to extend our resources. We know what's going on out there. We'll like send assistance when necessary, but it's not something that we're going to really concern ourselves with all that much.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's still not clear. League's in the chat saying, I hope that the Hutts aren't the main antagonists. I don't think they are going to be. I honestly think Nick probably finished the other piece of the puzzle there. I think it'll be them working with the Remnant, or the Remnant kind of working through them, almost like they're puppets. They're all going to be using each other in the end. So
yeah.
But I think I honestly don't think you're going to get any type of Thrawn shit in this movie. I mean, unless it's saved for the end, like a big tease. But I don't think Thrawn, which is kind of a shame, is going to be a big part of this movie. If anything, man, I could see him just being mentioned at best, if that. I mean, do you think they blow their Thrawn wad in this film, or do they save him for Ahsoka season 2?
No, I mean, I wouldn't. It doesn't seem like this movie, and like this is where it kind of like comes into like, how does this movie interact with everything else that we've seen, right? Like, does this essentially take place during Ahsoka season 1, when we just didn't have track of like Mando and Grogu and that side of things? Is that like,
no?
Is that why Zeb is in here? Like, because I think it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me if it takes place after Ahsoka season 1.
It will, because it's definitely taking place after Mando season 3, which was after Ahsoka season 1. So I think you're going to be disappointed there, which is why I'm asking, like, did they even mention Thrawn? I hope if it is, unless they do, like, previously or 10 years prior, but I'm pretty sure Mando season 3 was after Ahsoka season 1. So timeline wise, this should be after Mando season 3, because clearly Grogu is an apprentice. He has his little shield from season 3. So yeah, we'll just have to hope they get it going. Hey, there, the cat emo.
Choices.
The cat is on the keyboard. There we go. We always love when the cat's
Nice.
here. Thank you very much. All right, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they do with Thrawn. I don't think that they're going to do anything particularly useful with him in this movie.
You really don't need to. I think this film purely could be just a little one-off deal, furthering along Din and Grogu only, with only lightly adding some light to what's happening in the galaxy at large. All right. So in the trailer, when it comes back, now Din finds himself in the arena, and he is fighting the second old school creature alien monster that is now getting their live action debut. Nick, I mentioned the first one was the Amanaman, that kind of big hooded lizard looking walking king cobra thing that we see in the lake. And then in this arena, I'm almost positive that Din is fighting a Dejeric game piece, aka the Mantillion Savrip. So that's that lizard-looking thing that seems to be wearing a vest on the Dejeric table. But it does look like he's going to be a live-action gladiator that Din is going to have to fight. So why is Din fighting? You can only guess that he gets himself in trouble or found out as he's scouting Rhoda the Hutt or something like that. Or maybe Rhoda's like, hey, I'm not going to talk to you unless you prove yourself in the arena. I mean, for all we know, Rhoda could be running this arena. You know, it's his thing, kind of like the Roman emperors. And he's like, you want information from me? You want me to work with you? You got to prove yourself to me in combat. But it looks like Din is not going to just get to enjoy himself as a spectator at this gladiatorial event. He will be fighting a Savrip.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I really do think that the whole arena thing is like Rada's. That's like his bag. Like he just likes this kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. He's like, you know what? I don't want to be a full-on mob boss, but you know what? I will run a gladiatorial arena that people can bet on, and I'll have casino games and slot machines, stuff like that. He might be like a Zero the Hutt a bit more, you know, more entrepreneurial, trying to do things on the up and up. I can't hear Amanaman without singing the Muppets tune. Nice bango. Nice. All right, so Nick, the trailer kind of wraps up with some stuff we've seen before. We get this AT-AT caravan. There's 3 of them. Din and Grogu clearly get into one and blow it up. We see him kind of jetpack out, and then it crashes itself off the side of a cliff. This reminds me very much so of a scene, I believe, from the Bad Batch, where they had a bunch of like separatist tanks lined up, and they take one out and kind of drags off the ass. But that's really it.
I mean, it reminds me a little bit of Solo too, just the snow mission in Solo. And
well, yeah, I mean, we talked like this could very well be Vandor. I mean, it doesn't look like Hoth. It does look a little bit more like Vandor. But the trailer kind of ends again with Grogu on a separate mission with an Anzalin. They encounter some sort of one-eyed sewer rat. And our little dude, he's got himself a gauntlet and shoots some sort of green jizz out of it and gets it on his eye. And then at the very end, the Anzalin says, good shot, baby. And that does look like Babu Frick. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure that is Babu based on his headpiece. But you can see, I mean, Grogu, he's got his chest plate. He's got a gauntlet, which is pretty cool. I mean, remember, he's a Mandalorian apprentice now, everyone. He's no longer a Jedi. Yeah. He doesn't have a lightsaber. He's got to use the means and methods of his culture and his clan. So that was that. I mean, it was a nice short teaser, not a lot of speaking. In fact, Grogu or the Anzalin was the only one that dropped a line in this trailer. So May 22nd, I'll be on vacation, Nick. I'm already, like it figures 7 years. Took 7 years to get a Star Wars movie, and I'm not even going to be able to see it when it releases.
How do you feel about the summer release?
I mean, like it is proper Star Wars release time. I mean, before the sequel trilogy, Star Wars was always a May release. I mean, it was a May release when it first came out. And then the prequels confirmed it was a May release. So I can't hate on that because it is very traditional. But it kind of sucks for me because it's literally going to be during the first week of my 2-week break. And I'm never here. I'm not going to go see it where I'm at, which means I might not even get to see it on a Dolby screen by the time I get home. So I'm kind of like, fuck, dude. What about you? I mean, I know you're not going anywhere, but do you like it coming back to May, or do you wish they were December holiday treats?
I mean, I kind of liked the December because I mean, again, like it's a very me situation, right? Like I don't live where my family lives, so like I would go back and watch the movies with my friends and with my aunt when I would go home, and like I'm probably not going to be able to do that with this one. I mean, I may go home during that time window. I'm not 100% sure what my next year looks like around then, but I kind of enjoyed the Christmas releases. Like it felt cool to like, hey, like go home with the family, like everybody's off of work, like you have a lot of free time to go see it. I
Yeah,
think
that's
that
true.
summer release movies now are like, they're obviously a lot more. You still have like, off time for kids and stuff like that, but I really do feel like summer release movies aren't as like poppy as they used to be, right? Like I think that when
Not that
you
May
if you
slate. It seems the bigger releases now are going to be late June, July, like the ones really making money these days. So yeah.
yeah, so I don't
Oh
know.
well,
I'm not sure how I feel about it.
we don't
We'll
get to
see though.
decide. All I can tell you is that the Star Wars Time Show probably will not be discussing it for many weeks after it came out, when no one gives a shit anymore, because that's kind of going to be our new mantra. We'll get to it when we get to it. For example, the Lego series Rebuild the Galaxy season 2. Wait, I haven't fucking watched it. I know Nick hasn't watched it. So
I didn't watch the first one.
yeah. So that it more than likely is going to be our main topic for the first pre-record episode coming up in 2 weeks. Remember, we're not going to do anything next week. The week after that, Nick and I will meet on a Monday, do something, more than likely talk about Lego Rebuild the Galaxy, and I don't know what elements of the live show we might keep in the pre-record, but things are changing. I think it's going to be interesting, try something new over here. It's not like anyone comes and watches the show at 7:30 these days anyways. So we'll see, but you will hear from us on Rebuild the Galaxy, and then we got Visions coming up at the end of October. That'll be a pre-record as well. I think when it comes to actual Star Wars content, those are probably going to be pre-records. The weeks I'm doing lives, I don't really know what that's going to turn into. Maybe it'll stay like the Ask Me Anything and kind of the fan segment shit, and Nick and I move away from that during pre-records. That's for he and I to discuss next week when we are off. All right, dude, let's get into it. Alien Earth time. The clock is ticking down. We can't be doing this all night. I really haven't said much about it. Your boy Phil used his time for AMA to kind of air his grievances or his thoughts on the episode.
I did read that. I have a response to Phil. So Phil, when you listen to this, I got something for you.
see you, Bango. All right, Nick, while I get the slideshow going, why don't you go ahead and give your personal review and feelings of the Alien Earth finale, aka S1E8, the real monsters. I'll come in and give my 2 cents, and then we'll kind of go through and deep dive on some of the things we saw, didn't see, what we wished happened, what we think may happen, stuff like that. So go ahead and get to reviewing.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I really enjoyed the episode. I thought that it was a pretty well done finale that sets up a season 2 very well.
If we get,
I mean,
season 2. That's the big problem, dude. We don't know.
I mean, the thing is like if we don't get a season 2, cool. If we do get a season 2, cool. I enjoyed the episode overall. They have clearly set it up to where they are under the impression that they have a season 2. I don't know. Talk to Noah Hawley. See what he's heard.
I don't want to cut you off,
whoever.
but our loyal fan Divided does listen to the podcast, and she did report that Noah's like, hey, yeah, I ended this on a cliffhanger, hoping people would want more, so we could get a season 2. So he completely is using us to try and get bankrolled for another season, which I don't necessarily love, but I don't want to step on your review yet. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, good on him, because if you are a creator nowadays, you have to literally force people to give you a season 2. It's not like it was back in the old day where it's like, oh, you have a TV show, right? We're giving you at least 2 seasons.
Right.
Like,
it's a good thing it wasn't on Netflix, or they would have canceled it already before the first season ended. That's kind of how they roll sometimes.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, it kind of went in a way that I had expected. Like the kids are really like, especially Marcy is really starting to assert her
Now we
dominance in
rule,
terms of
bro.
her, yeah, like in terms of like not only her intelligence level, which is definitely increasing faster than the other kids, I would say. But also an understanding of like, you just can't do anything to me. Like there's very little that you can do to me. And she, like having control of a xenomorph is a big plus to them. So I really enjoyed the scene where like the scene that we're seeing on screen right now, where like all of the kids are in the cell talking through what they want to do, how to go about this, and then they all get on the same
Oh
page.
yeah.
I was super surprised at Cavaliers like little arc here, because I really did think that he was gonna go out. Like I just assumed that he was gonna either be like get eyeballed by Sheepball, or he was gonna get killed by Xeno. Um, but I think that where they left it was really interesting, and it also just like, you know, whatever you want to say about this, like it's crazy to me that Ridley Scott was just like, go for it and let Noah do what he wanted to do, because I think that the overall I was pretty happy with season 1. Um I'm interested to see how far he can extend this, given, like how everything interacts with canon or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty pleased. I thought that the fight scene between Kirsch and Moro was pretty sick. I thought that um the the scene with Joe and the like Joe fighting off the eyeball was fun. Overall I was pretty impressed with this episode. So I was pretty happy with the way it turned out.
I love the octopus eyeball, by the way. I mean, he's like my
Yeah.
it is my hero character. I like a lot of you. I was really hoping it would have got into Boy. Like I feel like that's how Boy needs to go out. I don't want him going out with a Xeno. We even talked about this last week. We're like, he should be taken out by that eyeball, and there's still potential. But okay, here we go. I'm a little different than young Nick here. I'll explain why. I'll tell you what, I did not like the opening at all. I didn't like that they just completely fast forwarded from the end of episode 7, just glossed over that standoff. Oh yeah, Nibs is fine, no problem. Like, she doesn't even have fucking scars. She's just hanging out in the birdcage with the rest of her hybrids. The Xeno is just out causing more havoc. I just did not like that opening. I think they skipped too much, in my opinion, from the end of episode 7, and just reset the game board, if you will, to have another short episode for us to watch. So I did find it odd that we didn't just pick up in the current timeline, pick up right where last week ended. I think there's too much glossing there. In the end, my last note was, seems like an unfulfilling end overall. And again, I'll explain why. Like Nick, if there is a season 2, I think this ended very well. I think it moved some of the plot points closer to revelation without revealing much. It's got the characters in an interesting spot, all of them, the hybrids, the adults, if you will, Weyland-Yutani, the Xenos, the eyeball. I mean, everything's set up for more storytelling. The problem is, we don't know if there's going to be more storytelling. So just like, when we all got upset that the Acolyte was waxed after season 1, even though it was specifically setting up some interesting storytelling for future seasons, that I kind of felt the same way about the end of Alien Earth here. It's like, we really didn't get any resolution. Not a single plot narrative was resolved at the end of this season. I guess you could argue the hybrids came into their own, but that to me wasn't even one of the main plot points. We still don't know the resolution of Prodigy. What's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to this island? What is Weyland-Yutani going to do? What's the eyeball going to do now that it's in Arthur's body? Who even knew the eyeball could reanimate dead corpses? But here we are. What happens now? I mean, literally, Prodigy is going to be encircled by Weyland-Yutani. Do the hybrids team up with the adults? Did the hybrids try to take everyone out? I feel like there was too much left open at the end with no guarantee of payoff in a second season. So fingers crossed we get a season 2. That's going to make this finale feel better to me. I do think it was a good episode. Where my problem is, Nick, is for a season or a potential series finale, it left way too many of the major plot threads open. And the just fast forward opening to the episode turned me off a bit, but there was plenty to enjoy here. Like you said, good action moments. I still need someone to explain to me how Moro got his garbage can off his arm. Like he
took the key off that guy.
Okay, well,
like
they didn't make it clear
he killed
enough.
That guard. Because you see him take the key out of his pocket and then like do whatever on his arm and take it off.
Either way, it's like, okay, he's just fighting Kirsch now, and he's fine. Moro committed the great sin. I don't know if we want to call him a villain. I kind of like the guy, but he is kind of an asshole. But when he had the upper hand, he had to go into a monologue to give Kirsch enough time to kind of flip him over and pin him. The other thing, like, dude, we talked so much about the mystery of Kirsch, and now he's a quadriplegic, and he seems like he's just another fucking android, It's like, okay, where's the payoff on all that stuff? He's literally laying on his back and can't move by the end. So it was stuff like that being glossed over or not resolved, and just now we rule, cut to Pearl Jam. It's like, all right, dug it, but if we don't get a season 2, no, go fuck yourself, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this age, that's just the norm now. Like, you're not going to get season 2s more than half the time. I mean, I'm used to it from Star Wars, where it's just like, all right, this is over. We probably won't see it again. See ya. Like, I've just gotten to the point to where it's like, enjoy what you get. And then if you get something else after it, that's pretty sweet. If you don't, hey, at least the guy who made it had fun making it. Like, definitely a lot of unresolved threads, like you said, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's fine. That's, again, we're not twins attached at the head, so we don't have to share every view equally. But listen, you could definitely argue that, hey, if this is the only season, it is what it is. But to me, the way it ends, the major cliffhangers, it definitely could have been way better with more finality if he knew it was just going to be one season. So we'll just have to kind of sit and wait and see what happens. It is really the first time I kind of went around the internet and looked at what people have been saying about this franchise, and apparently we are way high on it compared to most other people. I've seen some like alien purists just flip their lid over this series, and they kind of like fandom menace on it, and that'll make sense to anyone that is a Star Wars fan. So
yeah,
who knows?
That just seems like the internet now. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge, I don't know a ton about Alien. I've seen most of the movies. I've seen everything except Romulus. I thought it was fun. Thought it was interesting. I am interested in a season 2. I hope that it has the viewership numbers and the trust from the programmers at Hulu and Disney to give it a season 2. And we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I mean,
I'm still considering canceling all this shit anyways now that we got through Alien Earth. So I don't give a shit if they brought him back or not. I kind of needed something like that to call some of my streaming platforms, because I've fallen back into the rut where I just pay for it and don't use it. So might be killing my bundle here in a little bit. I guess after October, and then I'll kill it.
Yeah, and then you resubscribe when Shadow Lord comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Just start paying for like a month or something.
Yeah.
Okay, some things I want to get into. I did like, even though the opening was fast forward, I did like that it started with the crab kind of squaring up with a xenomorph. I thought that was funny. It's like, you want some, dude? Come on, I got my pinchers out. But I will tell you, man, I feel like the Xeno suit was exposed a bit in this episode. They're like, especially out in the daylight shots, it's like, okay, I really appreciate practical effects and creature costumes and makeup, but it's like, especially when he was with the crab, you're like, yeah, that's a fucking human in a rubber suit. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, come on. You could see, like the rubber folding over from him being on his haunches. Is like, why don't you film the Xeno scenes in the dark hallways? That seems to work better for a suit
Yeah.
being worn by a human. What else we have? I really enjoyed Wendy in this episode in particular, and the way she just kind of took control and realized her power. She had agency, I mean, she's like, you know what, fuck this. Maybe they should be scared of us. They should be afraid of us. And she just starts clicking from the cell, knowing that it's going to travel out to her pet. She starts messing with the radio signal. She starts getting into the cameras, the door locks. I mean, if you think about it, Nick, Wendy is basically a Jedi when it comes to computer networks.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. She and it's not even the fact. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it that she can get into the computer networks, but she understands how to manipulate them, and like understands how to manipulate them to a point to where she can literally take over Prodigy's entire network and all of the connected entities to it at any time she wants. That's what I was saying about her, is like her intelligence is clearly growing faster than the other kids. And I don't know if it's like anomalous or if it was like planned because she was the first one and they wanted to, like, they were trying to give her more, experimental ability or whatever. But yeah, Wendy, or in Marcy, whatever you want to call her, is definitely my favorite character of the series.
She was great.
I really like her growth.
I think what it was, Nick, and they didn't do a very good job at it, but I believe when she was created, she was around for months before the other kids were created. So that's why I think she's so far ahead. But you can tell, I think the other ones are starting to catch up. I believe Smee might have been the one messing with the elevator. I mean, he was the one, doing the countdown and kind of pointing at it. So he was getting in on the fun. Speaking of Smee, I mean, again, he's the emotional root of the hybrids. He's their rock, their foundation. While he wasn't as childlike in this episode, it does feel like they all kind of grew up a little bit, especially at the end when they're all walking out together and she's kind of handing out the missions. But Smee still was the one to kind of put his arm around Wendy when she was looking at Joe, her brother, and be like, "Hey, it's all right, man. He's one of us. You don't kill your brother." Basically, is what he was saying. Like, don't kill your brother. So you can always rely on Smee to try to do the right thing or be supportive of people. Real quick.
And I mean, ultimately, go ahead.
This is way off topic. Bango, the thing you're talking about, the end of Foundation, are you upset at the switch of the mule's identity? That's all I need to know. All right. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think like ultimately with, oh shit, I forgot where I was going. Yeah, never mind. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Mando Pirate saying, I'm surprised Kirsch couldn't just repair himself and get back up. Yeah, remember, these aren't Terminators. They're while they are androids, I mean, look, they have fluid in them. They're very organic looking. Go back and watch some of the original movies with Bishop, Ash, and Rook. I mean, the alien synthetics, they're made to look inside as organic as possible. They're not all mechanical. They've got like mushy parts in themselves. So they can't just self-heal, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, the Kirsch angle was pretty interesting. I'm not sure like how, like obviously he can't self-repair, like you were saying, like a T-1000 or something like that, where it's just like he's fine. Like he's gonna have to have somebody actually come in and repair him. And then ultimately what I think might happen is like, does he try to start manipulating the kids to be like, look, I'm just like one of you. I want to help you guys. It was always my plan to go against Prodigy, blah, 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 blah. I'm very interested if there is a season 2 to see what Kirsch does in particular, because he is the one to me that feels like he could get on their good side way more than like Cavalier and Sylvia and all. all the
I
rest
mean,
of them.
Kirsch never really treated them like shit. He kind of treated them as kids, but robot kids. He's like, listen, you're not humans. Get over that shit. Be more like me. And but he would give them the respect. But he also, let Toodles get his face melted off. Just watch that on camera. So uh, Kirsch, I still think there's something going on with him, but we may never know at this point in time.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Bango. I'm like so entrenched in Asimov's foundation right now. I'm almost done with book 3. I bought book 4 and 5. I'm absolutely loving it. I do see now how different the show is, but I also dig the show, and I think I understand more why the show is doing what it did. But I agree with Bango. I'm not going to say much, but the end of Foundation, they make a very drastic choice that doesn't make sense. Anyways, I don't want to tie up too much more time on that. What else we got? What do you think about Morrow now, Nick? Do you still kind of feel for him a bit, or are you kind of like, you know what? He is just kind of an angry shithead. He might not be all machine, but he still is kind of operating with one and zero view of the world. You know what I mean? Like, you're either with me or
Yeah.
against me. It's very Sith-like.
I never felt for him.
Okay.
Like, shitty things happen to people all the time, motherfucker. Like, guess what? That's just fucking life. Doesn't give you the right to be a piece of shit to everybody else. So, I didn't feel bad for him then. I don't feel bad for him now. I think that he is just generally a piece of trash who, like, just is only interested, regardless of what the outcome is, and giving Yutani what she wants, even though he can see how destructive these things are, and he will go to the lengths of killing other people to secure killing machines for somebody else. So Morrow has always been and will always be just a piece of trash person to me, regardless of whether he is a cyborg or not.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, League brings up a good point. League saying, speaking of Terminator, Morrow reminds me of a Terminator on a mission. He will not stop with the mission until it's fulfilled. Yeah, I mean, he's very loyal, and he calls her, what does he call her? Yutani Younger, Yutani Youth, something like that. He's got a name for the new Yutani, because you gotta remember, it was her grandmother that initially that saved Morrow and sent him on the 65-year Maginot mission.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the thing with Morrow is like, he's not a Terminator. Like, your closest facsimile to a Terminator in all of this is the androids, are like Kirsch and David and all of them. But like, this is just a dude. Like, this is a dude that has some fucking robot parts in him, and he acts like an emotionless piece of trash. Like,
yeah,
he's
pretty hardened. There's no doubt. I mean, I like when he went to Slightly, like, I didn't hurt your mom. I'm glad Slightly was resolved in his mission to knock him out again. I'm actually surprised he didn't just cave his skull in. You do have to wonder. I mean, I guess they are technically still kids, but why even keep the adults alive? I mean, for story purposes, obviously, but why the hybrids even need them at this point in time? Just to have fun, to torment them? I mean, what's the point?
Killed a human yet? I don't know if they, like,
Nibs has killed a lot of humans for sure, and you could argue Wendy, through her pet, has also murdered dozens of humans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like they're trying to get something out of them.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, come on, you got the people that you all think have held you back. So why are you keeping them in a cell? Just take them out. Well, it was interesting, the exchange between Morrow and Hermit to realize that Hermit technically is a cyborg himself. I don't think any of us really thought about that way, because he's got that artificial lung in there. So there was that. I don't know about you, Nick, but did you initially think that Boy's 6-year-old created synth was Kirsch, or did you know it was going to be Adam, the bald guy that's always been his advisor?
I did not think it was going to be Adam, so that was a pretty cool surprise when Wendy was able to halt him in his tracks.
Yeah,
I did think,
like I said, she's a technological Jedi. I mean, literally puts her hand out and can make technology do stuff.
Yeah. So I didn't think it was going to be him. I mean, honestly, you probably should have figured, because he was like, then the android became my father, and it's like, who is that father
I
figure? Do
know.
we
I
know a
went
father
right to
figure?
Kirsch. I went right to Kirsch, and then it's like, oh, you know
Yeah,
what? It's got to be fucking Adam. Sure enough, it
yeah,
was.
yeah,
But it was kind of cool to get a little bit of that backstory about Boy. You know,
yeah,
he
yeah,
was essentially came from nothing, had a drunk dad, and then Wendy kind of made the full circle uh, with psychotherapy diagnosis. Basically, like, no, you've never been a kid. You've been a man since you were born, and you know, just an angry, petty piece of shit, essentially. But then she keeps him alive. You know, I did like the hybrids kind of squatting up. You know, before this, they're all a little disparate. You know, they kind of had their
yeah,
factions. Smee and Slightly was slightly kind of doing the weird shit. Curly wanting to suck up to the humans to be the favorite. Nibs, the emotionally distressed one, and then Wendy, kind of the old sister, dealing with emotions. Her organic brother, but they eventually, very quickly, Wendy convinces him like, "Yo, we're a fucking squad. We're gonna take control. Obviously, now we rule at the end." What'd you think about Slightly and Smee kind of having a an after action report? Like, yeah, that was kind of screwed up, but Slightly was like, "Hey, man, it's not our fault. It's not our fault." And then eventually Smee's like, "Yeah, it's not our fault. It was what they made us."
yeah,
It's kind of a bit of a dark turn. That is one way to
yeah.
justify wanton murder, if you will.
It's I mean, like, it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting to see how they're like, they're finally starting to understand, like, Wendy has understood, or Marcy has understood for a while, like, her capabilities and the like, I guess you would say the consequences of her actions. Like, she seems just like more mature in that sense, but now you can see that everybody else is starting to really
Oh yeah.
have a grasp of that. And it is like, when you're, yeah, they have to cope with what they've done, and they have to, like, they have to justify it in a way that doesn't put them at fault, right? Like, they can't be at fault. And that's the same thing with everybody who's done heinous shit like that. Is like, you got to find reasons why it's not your fault, or
Yep, you
why
gotta
you did the things
justify
that you've
it.
done. So, like,
uh,
it is crazy to see a bunch of kids doing that though. Like,
yeah. No, I
so
listen.
yeah,
I think the hybrids are great, and like Bango's saying in the stream, Nibs might be my second favorite. I mean, she is a woman of action. You know, I mean, she's pretty much their pit bull at this point. You know, when Boy's body man came in and he was getting handsy, it was Wendy's like,
yeah,
"Hey, Nibs, go ahead, take care of that," and she just pounces on him and literally beats his face into a pulp. No problem. Walks out, goes on her mission to get Dame Sylvia. I would have liked her to walk up to the Dame and just snap her neck from behind, but I guess she was given commands like, "No, you need to we need to keep these people alive for whatever reason." I still can't figure that one out. Um, yeah, divided. The hybrids are a prodigy creation.
yeah,
Synthetics, as you know, Kirsch and cyborgs is Moro. Those are Weyland-Yutani. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. What else we got here? The eyeball. I mean, my one note on the eyeball, Nick. I just said poor eyeball. I kind of felt bad for him. I
mhm,
kind of was hoping he would have gotten to Joe's face, or a better body than a essentially a rotting corpse that is being eaten by crabs and has a chest wound. So he tried his best. He got punted a few times. I mean, I'm surprised how
yeah,
resilient he is, Nick, because he's a fucking eye that has octopus
yeah,
legs on it. You would think Wendy kicking it would have just exploded his ass, but no. He can move fast. He's got strength. I mean, the little chase scene with him and Hermit was pretty great. And I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie, I was rooting for the fucking eyeball.
yeah. No, I mean, I was. It was super interesting to me that that's where he ended up, right? Like, that he got so far outside of the facility, and the only thing that he could find was that body. And I wonder, like, I mean, obviously he can still use it, like, he's fully
Yeah,
reanimated it, but I
good to
wonder if
go.
like, what, like, yeah, that's the most, that was the most interesting end to me, is like, what the fuck is gonna happen with this now? Like, how like, is it, can he just like, can the eyeball, like, fully control that body with no problem? Like, It
I
is pretty
think,
wild to consider that.
yeah, I mean, I think yes, it can. Here's the one problem I could see with a host like Dead Arthur is it's organic material. It's going to eventually decompose. So I think while the Teocellus can reanimate dead flesh, I think it's on like a time clock when it's in a body like
Yeah.
that. So, but hey, listen, it's essentially a main fucking character at this point in time in this series. I mean, if there's a season
Yeah.
2, you have to bring back the eyeball has to be a player. I love
Yeah.
it. It's like
I really
what's its
I
end
want to
goal
hear
though,
what it
Nick?
has.
Is it
Yeah.
there to kill the Xeno? Is it there to take over Earth? I mean, what do you think its main purpose is? Is it just a murderer, or is it does it have a master plan because of its intelligence?
Yeah, I mean that's that's what I'm trying to figure out, right? Is like I want to hear this thing speak. Like I really want to hear what it has to say and like what its ultimate goal is, kind of like you were saying, like what like okay, we know that you're intelligent. Like that's unquestionable now. Like you are an intelligent being. You understand like high level math concepts, stuff like that. So what is the angle? Like what is your ultimate goal? Like was its goal the whole time to like actually be captured and then make its way to Earth and wreak havoc, do whatever it's going to do? Like was that its ultimate end goal? Because right now it is just really hard to try to track what this thing is ultimately trying to do. But yeah, if there is a season 2, I gotta have more eyeball.
Yeah,
I gotta have more Arthur eyeball.
and I want to hear it talk. I want it in a human body. I want it to talk. I want it to talk shit. I want it to like a villain. If it's a villain, the layout, its master plan, something like that. I found the Teocellus to be one of the most. Okay, Nick's lost his ears, so I'll just talk to you all for a little bit. All right. The other thing, see if he gets his ears back. Well, the other thing I was going to bring up is Wendy. I think when she's talking to her brother, she talks about why she likes the aliens, and she says it's because they're honest. I found that to be a very interesting point. That she likes them because the aliens are honest, and then she followed that up, Nick, saying like she doesn't even know what or who she is anymore. She's not a little girl. She's not an adult. She's not a human. What is she? And I don't want to say I felt for her, but you could start to see why she has this relationship with the Xeno, why they hit it off. They're both kind of they're very honest, as she says, but they don't necessarily have a place on Earth. You know what I mean? They're not well, she's not a typical human, and clearly the xenomorph is nothing from the planet itself. So I thought that was interesting introspection on her part. I also like the line. I forget what, I think it might have been the dame when she's like, no, her brother said it's complicated. And she said, that is what powerless people say to make up for doing nothing. And I think that is a great mantra for everyone on this planet right freaking now. All right. Just think about that. When you just go, how much I can do, it's complicated. I can't do that, it's complicated. That is what powerless people say to make up for doing nothing. That is some good fucking writing right there, dude. That is some good shit.
That's like that's what I'm saying with her is like she's gaining knowledge that like at an incredibly fast rate. Like just like it's actually pretty crazy how fast that character has matured over the time that she's like been in the show. So I am very interested to see like where ultimately she goes and what like how like what her end looks like, right? Because it seems like if there is a second season and we continue to push forward with this crew of people, like this crew of lost boys and kids and stuff, it's like what's their ultimate end goal? Like, I know that right now they probably don't have one. Their end goal is now we rule. Obviously, there's a lot for them to still learn and
Survive
understand about.
Weyland-Yutani.
Yeah, like honestly, there's just a lot that they don't understand about like doing like doing exactly what she said, like actually ruling and like actually being in charge and doing different things that they have never had to do before. So it's it's very intriguing to me to follow their story and see where they end up, because it is super interesting that now they're in, like, now what they're going to have to contend with is Utani, and they don't even really understand that
No.
in a real serious way. Like,
I mean, clearly they probably know because they're tapped into the systems and they probably could hear the warnings and whatnot. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you and I, we had this season ending with a tactical nuke attack by
yeah,
Weyland-Yutani. That doesn't seem to be the case. They're getting boots on the ground because they still want their assets. And if there is a season 2, I think it still is all contained on Neverland for the most part. And it's probably going to start out a battle between Yutani and the hybrids, and who knows where it goes from there. But that's where all of the game pieces have been aligned, if you will. All right. Really, I as shitty as a person Boy Cavalier is, I still think he's a fun antagonist. I love the way he
yeah,
was kind of brought to life. I think I pissed myself line when he had the standoff with Wendy's dog and she sicked it on the soldiers and not him. And really, man, we finally, it was teased, I think episode 1 or 2 on Toodles, the plant alien kind of sniffing him out, but we finally got payoff on the plant alien, which escaped, hanging from the ceiling and sucked up the black security girl and just
yeah,
absolutely like dominated her upper torso. I mean,
yeah.
it
Like that
crushed
was,
it or something. There was like blood literally being
yeah,
squoze out of her like an orange.
yeah. It was pretty wild to watch that scene. Honestly, like that one was one where I was like, oh damn, like this, like that's some shit that you see in uh like that movie Evolution. If you've ever seen that movie, just like these weird alien plants at some point like pop up and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah, that one was like, I don't think that there is any sentience or even relative intelligence. Like that is just like a fucking prehistoric carnivorous
Yeah,
plant that is
kind of like the
just
flies, right? Like the
yeah,
flies we saw. I mean, they just exist to eat and procreate,
yeah.
but the way they eat is very violent. So
Yeah, it's just super violent.
I mean,
It is. It really is.
you
Yeah.
could argue the same for Xenos, although now we've seen a different side of Xenos. I mean, if you know how to speak their language, they're pretty fucking cool. Like I would love to have a xenomorph drone as a pet right now. Like, give me a
Yeah,
break.
I mean it's crazy to me too how like the level of obedience they have towards Marcy when ultimately like they don't know anything about her. They've just been exposed to her for the first time, and it's pretty wild to me that like there is this blind obedience that they hold for her.
Yeah, I
But
mean
yeah,
the big
dude.
one clearly she raised it, so I mean you could get
Yeah.
that imprint. But now the little one's out. It's like the big one's like, no, hey, her is queen. Her is queen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we follow her. She doesn't look like us. It doesn't matter. She speaks our dialect. That is our queen. So I can't, hopefully we get to see that relationship bud out. But I mean, honestly, if this is going to butt up to Ridley Scott's canon, we all know what's going to happen here. I mean, everything we've seen, every character we've met outside of Weyland-Yutani's are gone, or they're just
Yeah.
they ride off into the horizon, and it is what it is. But hopefully we get a little more finality, because you would think if there was technology out there like these hybrids, that Weyland would have done something with it in Aliens, Alien 3, Alien. Oh, they're not around in Alien Resurrection. They kind of get wiped
Yeah.
out.
I mean, who knows? Like maybe they somehow find their way off the planet with the Xeno and they're just the fuck out of there. They're just
Yeah.
gone. I mean, that's a possibility. Obviously, they've left open a lot of avenues and doors for potential ways that this could go. So yeah, I mean, I am just really interested to see like what a season, like just what a season two has in store, and what that could potentially look like. Um, but yeah, I mean,
I just
we'll
do
we'll see.
I do hope we get it, just to kind of put a pin in this. I did enjoy Alien Earth. I really did.
Mhm.
I think the finale was a little lackluster just because of the unknown of it getting a second season to actually pay off on the massive cliffhangers that it left it with. I mean, it really didn't pay off on any of the major plot threads. So outside of the unknown of getting a second season, I think this was a fun experiment, and I hope we get a second season. I really do. All right, my friend, let's do a quick little crossover, and then we'll put this episode to bed with the fan segment. This week, our little crossover debate. This is how we do it. Oh, hold on, Bango. You $10. Hold on. Let me find it. Let me find it. If you start throwing away cash, you know we are going to cover it. Whatever you need. I mean, you need me to get up and do a dance? All right, he said he had a late question of the week response. Where is it? All right, okay, I got you, Bango. Hold on. We'll do this live. Nick, why don't you go ahead and set up this crossover, and I'll get this taken care of. But essentially the crossover is this. Which faction is more ruthless or monstrous? Weyland-Yutani or the Galactic Empire? Go.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, because you're looking at two different ends of domination, right? Like one of them is domination through galactic politics, and then one of them is domination through pure corporate greed and money, big money. Which is, both of them are happening actively in America right now, and all across the world. So you should be familiar. For me, this one's kind of easy to me, and I feel like I'm in line with the voters here on the chat that we see. I feel like it's the Empire, because while Wayland is definitely like the typical corporate bad guy, where like they have a corporate face, and the corporate face does things that the general public can use, like they make things that the general public can use, and like don't, like a general consumer probably doesn't have all that much of a grudge against Weyland-Yutani, but when you find out what they're actually doing, then it's like, oh, this is literally the definition of an evil corporation. They're not like wantonly killing people in the streets for like made up reasons, right? Like that, but we do know that the Empire does that.
Yeah,
Like the Empire does that
they
shit.
blow up planets. They
Yeah.
squash. They land star destroyers on people in town squares. I mean,
Yeah. So I think that's
kill
where
kids,
the
like kill
primary,
fucking younglings. You know.
yeah. So to me, that's where like the primary difference comes in, is just in the fact that like you, as Weyland-Yutani, like you still have to have a public face that is like, okay, we're doing things to help you out, which in turn still like brings in money, and then they don't have to worry about like, public facing crises, or anything like that. Whereas the Empire, as we have seen over and over again, had literally just got to a point to where it's like, I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't give a fuck how you think. I don't really care what your thoughts are about my governing style. What all I care about is that I'm in power, and I'm going to assert my dominance in a way that is painful for everybody else. So that's for me why I feel like it's the Empire that is still the ultimate bad guy here, just because of the wanton bad shit that they do. Like,
Yeah,
they don't give a fuck.
yeah. I mean, listen, I would love to just be like, man, fuck corporation, anything. Weyland-Yutani, they're literally the government in the Alien franchise. They own parts of Earth, they own parts of other planets, and I think they set up in other galaxies or solar systems at least. So they are kind of like the Empire from a governing standpoint. But like Nick said, unless you, I mean, they do kind of keep their people beat down. If you go back and watch Alien Romulus, I mean, essentially they have planets where people are more or less indentured servants. They have to like serve time. They don't really even get paid. They have to like, oh, you've got 10 more years on your contract to mine this shitty planet that's going to kill you. So I mean, while they're not blowing you up with a you know a moon base,
Yeah.
and they're not coming through and killing your kids with lightsabers, they're still kind of turning you into a corporate slave where you're going to die making them money. But your point is it is what it is. I mean, it's hard to compare the Empire, which we know from day one just genocided places, killed kids, killed families, lit them on fire, broke their necks, dragged them through the street, you know, blow this planet up, blow that planet up. Hell, the Second Empire, the First Order, their whole fleet had planet blasting guns on them. So when it comes to monsterish or ruthlessness, I don't think it's real competition. I mean, and you made a very astute point. These two factions we're talking about, it's kind of planet Earth right now, where corporations have a very strong pull with the government, and the government can do things that, you know, maybe corporations don't want, the people definitely don't want. So while I hate corporations and many aspects of capitalism, I think the Empire is the real monster here. Hold on, Nick. We got a super chat from Divided saying the most epic outcome would be for Wendy and the Lost Boys to find a way off with their Xeno pets. Yes. I don't want any of the kids or these two Xenos to perish. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I guess you could argue that they just kind of, you know, end up somewhere in the galaxy where they're of no concern to Weyland-Yutani anymore. And Weyland-Yutani is like, you know what, we're gonna send in the Stromo to LV-426 to try to get us some more of these things to play with. All right. Okay, so here we go. Fan segment time. We do it every week, or who knows how we'll be doing it moving forward. We'll have to discuss offline. But to get involved, there's two methods. You can answer our question of the week, which we post on our socials, typically show day or a little bit before the show, depending on when we record. And you just got to respond to them, and we'll read your responses. And then we end with the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features that I chose this week. So we'll kind of see what those look like. All right, Nick, let's go ahead and get those questions humming right now. I'm getting the screen switched up.
All right.
Let's
all right.
Wasn't many responses, but Bango just came in with a late one, so make sure to get to his as well.
I will definitely read Bango. So first up in the question of the week response, which is more Ruthless, Weyland, or the Empire, Phil says, between the younglings in Order 66 and how they handled things in Andor Season 2, I gotta say the Empire. I tend to agree with you there. And then while we're on it real quick, Phil said previously about the ending, he said, kind of silly in my opinion to finish with now we rule, but when we know all this has come to has to come to naught in the end. My response to that is that the kids don't know that. The characters don't know that. Like, the characters are in the moment. Like, the characters are living through this actively. So like, if you are like, if like right now, if there is a being that is watching us and they know that I die in 3 weeks, I get hit by a bus, and I'm like, oh man, I'm super excited for this trip. What is it going to say? Like, why would you even say that? You're going to die in 3 weeks. I don't know that. Wendy and everybody doesn't know that they're going to be, you know, that ultimately this all comes to naught.
Phil, you're in trouble, bro.
So you can't write your characters in a way where they know their own future.
True.
Is what I would say there. Is like that, like that now we rule part was the thing that made the most sense to me, because that was ultimately Wendy's goal, is to like get from underfoot and be able to live out on her own. So that was had to hit Phil with that one, but no, yeah, that was
Phil
my thought on that. All right, next.
He has spoken.
I have spoken. Next up, we got a few responses here. We got Veer Merlior that's given us just a GIF for the response of who is more brutal, the Empire or Weyland-Yutani, and it is Director Krennic overlooking the construction of the Death Star. So I assume that he is saying that it is indeed the Empire.
Yes.
League says Weyland-Yutani, hands down. They are not restricted by the accounting department, unlike the Empire, always
she
counting
listens
those
to
pennies.
the Star Wars Time show. Remember, we kind of had
There
that
you
angle.
go.
Like, why are they so worried about pinching pennies when they're the fucking Empire? You know what I mean?
That is very true. That is very true. And then Veer Melior one says the Empire funded a fleet of 25,000 ISDs and 2 Death Stars. So they got a little money behind them. And then closing out this week's question responses, Bango, we got it for you, baby. Empire, here's why. Weyland-Yutani is definitely the embodiment of evil corporatism, basically holds its employees in a twisted form of indentured servitude, has no governmental checks, etc. But they are one of several and competing against those other corps. The Empire, however, is space fascism. It seeks to dominate. It thinks nothing of genocide, planetary obliteration, industrialized murder, etc.
Look at this guy.
The depravity of the Empire exists on an entirely different level, from the sinister nature of Palpy down to the mid-level administrators to the little fish in the big pond imperial officers who rule their domains as many despots. The Empire is an immeasurable machine of evil. Very well said. Bango. There we go.
That was worth the $10, good sir.
You could see why Bango is a writer. Bango wrote that very well.
Let us pay you $10 for that well-written response. All right, checks in.
Very, very well written. So thank you, Bango.
Nick, you see our new emoji? All things Star Wars Time show. It's
it's a little
day late, $1 short. It's Darth Xeno. It's a Xeno with a Sith hood, with a Sith robe.
I was like, is it a Xeno cat? It kind of looks like a Xeno cat because of a little tail, but yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Hold on. Bango is always brings clarity to the room. Let the record reflect I wrote that after a bottle of wine. That a boy.
Hey,
I don't know how he sucks down wine like that. That shit would make my brain dry up. I mean, anytime I drink wine, it feels like my brain is separating from my skull.
Taylor is a wine drinker.
Yeah.
She can do that.
Well, I mean, her family, they still live in Italy, right? So that's just kind of par for the course. Okay.
That's their normal stuff. Yeah. But yes, again, thank you all for the question responses. We're now going to go on to
all right, Nick,
top 5. So Matt, you curated the top 5 this week. I have been fucking.
It's all good. I love when Bango's in the chat. I will say I love all our diehards, but when Bango comes here and he's a little sauced up, it's some vintage Star Wars Time show live stream chatting. All right, Nick, like you said, we're now going to close things out with my top 5. What you got to do with this one is on Instagram, use hashtag Star Wars Time Show, but more importantly, use ad tag at StarWarsTime.show. That's typically the area of the app that Nick will scroll through each week to pick his top 5. He's a busy man, so I handled it this week, and now I will present my selections. All right, Nick, up first, we have a cigarette-smoking, helmetless Boba Fett from GT_arts_Fett on Instagram. I just absolutely love seeing Boba Fett chilling, smoking himself a ciggy. I don't know. It just seems very character correct to have this son of a clone, a clone son of a clone, having himself a little smoke after a hunt or a bounty.
I definitely see that for the Boba Fett that we get to know in the Mandoverse. Like, he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let this guy have a smoke break. He just got out of the Sarlacc pit.
I was gonna say this is him right out of the Sarlacc pit after he regained all his armor. I don't know, man. It just works really well. Kudos to GT Arts Fett doing the head swap on the Boba body, because it works perfect, man. I love it. Boba having himself a smoke. Too bad it's not a blunt. That would have made it even better. All right, Nick, next one here. A longtime friend of the show and a stalwart in the toy photography community. They don't post much anymore, but when they do, we take notice. I'm talking about Jason Young, at work more or less. Used to be a guest host of the show. Used to be a guest on the show. Now he's doing bigger and better things, as most people are that either started with us or used to be fans. They've all had their dreams come true, but us. But that is the name of the game. That is why we are the Star Wars Time Show. But Nick, this shot's so cool is because no special effects were used here. Jason's using a new camera that can take multiple exposures. So essentially it was 2 scenes set up and the camera was able to take them both and then merge them in frame. So it's not only cool technology, but Jason with his skills and his talents and all the technical stuff he knows about photography produced a really cool looking shot of a Darth Vader silhouette with General Skywalker, Ahsoka, Rex, I don't know if that's Echo or Fives, all kind of lined up. It just, it's a damn cool looking shot.
That is pretty sick. I mean, I love that double exposure, like you were saying. Like it's also crazy that the camera can do that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is definitely some of Jason's signature work here. So definitely,
this is all done in camera. So apparently it's this OM1 Mark II that can handle multiple exposures in camera. So if you're into that type of shit, check out Work More or Less on Instagram. All right, next candidate that I chose here. I really like the how the lighting pops, the effects, the saber effects, the world between worlds. We're looking at a shot from SpaceX_photos, and it's kind of a recreation of Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 5, when Anakin and Ahsoka are fucking with each other in the WBW. Anakin he's kind of in his Lord Vader mode. His saber turns red. She's back, kind of getting beat down. Both her sabers up. This shot's just got some vibrancy to it, Nick. I love how the effects kind of pop, but it's also, posed very well.
Yeah, I mean, I love the ground. Like, honestly, the most impressive thing to me is like the plane that they're standing
the
on.
light bridge.
It almost mirrors, the light bridge. Like, it's just a perfect mirror to what you saw in the show. I mean, everything that's done here is super impressive, especially the background work where you can see the other light bridges kind of circling around them, posing, like you said, just fantastic. I mean, this is definitely a top-notch shot here from Space Ace X. Photos.
Yeah. Good post processing, but again, if you don't have the right poses and the setup and the eye for it, doesn't matter. So it doesn't take anything away from the total shot. All right, coming up next, we've had Karen Kolsch featured before. They're great at kind of humorous setups you would not expect, and this might be their best. We literally have this is awesome. Like this is another wall hanger in my excuse me. You know what I mean? Like you put this in doctor's office, dentist's office, your own office, people are going to have a conversation with you about this because we're essentially looking at a pit droid restroom, okay, pit droids from Star Wars. There's one droid taking a shit on a toilet, reading a novel. It looks like it might be about Darth Maul, maybe, who knows. Next to him, you got a trash can, you got what looks like a washer, but to his left, you have his compadre, another pit droid. Taking a fucking shower. It's just like, it's just another day at Pit Droid Central, checking in, one taking a dump, one getting cleaned. They're both getting ready to do some laundry. I just love this shit. I love when Star Wars toys are put in real life scenarios, such as using the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. I agree with Bango on this one. This is a good bathroom picture. If you are the type of person to put a picture in your bathroom,
that's what Lee's saying. This belongs in the shitter.
Yeah, like we actually have something similar. We have in a couple of our bathrooms, we have, and Taylor bought these. I did not. She bought these for me. One of them is Darth Vader sitting on the can, reading the newspaper. And then the other one is a stormtrooper standing at a urinal taking a leak.
Hey, look at you! Look at you! We need to hit up Karen Kolsch to see if we can have a triumvirate in in your bathroom of Star Wars.
Yeah, I got to get some more. We got to get some more. There we go.
But no, this is great. Give them a follow. Karen KarinKoelsch on Instagram. They always have humorous posts. Very fun account to check out. Okay, and the last one of the top 5. Coming from Toy Realms, all one word on Instagram. She is an expert at the smaller scale figures. That this scene we're looking at here, everyone, and young Nick, we've got 2 AT-STs. We've got stormtroopers. We've got tank commanders. It looks like there's some death troopers. There's explosions taking place. There's trench warfare. I mean, is this on Minbom? Who knows? It doesn't matter, but it's a great wartime scene featuring the 1/18 scale Star Wars figs from Toy Realms.
Oh yeah, I mean this is absolutely fantastic. This is some stuff that I usually gravitate towards as well, as like these wartime photography shots, and I love the angle that he took at it too, like looking down the trench. You get to see side profiles of like you said, the AT-STs and all of the individual troopers as well. I would love to see this from different angles too, like I think like a shot from behind the figures, and then even like a front facing shot would be fantastic.
Put it, hey
too.
Nick, no kidding, put it in Nano Banana and say, hey, give me the front angle and give me the back angle. I guarantee you it can do it. I guarantee, because I saw something where someone took like a pulled out map and then pointed an arrow at a section. It said, hey, show me what this looks like based on where the arrow is pointing, and it would recreate the location almost perfectly. So
that's pretty crazy.
You got some homework. He's got a lot of Nano Banana homework. I gave him some of my old toy pics to try to animate.
Your stuff downloaded, so I'm gonna see if I can mess with those tonight.
All right, excellent.
If I can stay up late enough. And then yeah, man. I mean that is some cool looking stuff here on the top 5.
All right.
So hey, that's the end of the top 5. So Matt, go ahead and close us out.
You got it, pal. Well, it's been fun with Alien Earth, but as all good things, it must come to an end. So if you weren't here for the top of the show, you're just tuning in now, we are not going to have anything next week. We're going to use next week to kind of start figuring out the new cadence of the show, which we know, but we got to plan what we're going to do for show 1, which is going to pre-record. So here's the deal moving forward. Next week, we're off. I'm hoping to do a long-form video I've been kind of sitting on curating for many months now. It's called The True Power of the Force. I know it's probably only going to be seen by 50 people, but I've already put in enough man hours. It needs to be produced at this point. So that's the goal next week. The week after that, we'll start the new cadence of the show. So if you weren't here, here's how it's going to go. That week on Monday, Nick and I are going to pre-record a show, so it's not going to be live. But what we're going to do after we record it, we're going to set it to instant premiere on Wednesday at 6 p.m. East on our channel. And with instant premiere, we can kind of, zoom in and live chat with anyone that is watching the pre-record. That's going to be how we handle the pre-recorded shows. One of us hopefully will be in there for a few minutes, maybe the first 30 minutes. Who knows? Then the week after that, I'm going to do a live myself on a Wednesday. Okay, we're going to do this for a while to kind of see how this new cadence works for both of our personal lives. Because in the end, it's been made very clear that Nick and I, we're not going anywhere with this show. It's never going to bring us real revenue. It's never going to make us internet famous. So what's the point in killing ourselves and trying to do it all on a Monday when I don't want to do it on a Monday, or trying to do it on a Wednesday when he doesn't want to do it on a Wednesday? So we're going to try out this new cadence. So you're going to get 2 pre-records a month, 2 lives a month. Pre-records will instant premiere still on our live day on Wednesday. All right. So we want you all to stick with us. It could be fun. Who knows? The pre-records, it could become a whole different thing than what these lives were. But for now, and as Nick's schedule remains as it is, that's how we're moving forward with the Star Wars Time show. And you know what? No one should give up on us. There's always time for Star Wars Time, as you have learned over these many years we've been doing this. So keep listening, keep tuning in, keep looking for those long-form videos on YouTube. We're not going away. This is not goodbye. We're just going to kind of metamorphosis into something new, if you know what I mean. All right. So we shall say goodbye for our last regular live stream as a duo. Just for now. You never know. You never know. Nick's a happening dude. In another 6 months, he could have another job, and we could be back. But for now, This live, as it has existed since 2020, is coming to an end, and you are here for the final one. So you all should pat yourselves on the back. But don't you forget, there is always time for the Star Wars Time Show. And if you listen, watch, tune in to pre-records, the Force will be with you. Always.